Hello and welcome to Midday Report on TVP World. I'm Marie Cato. EU foreign ministers are meeting today in Warsaw for the second day of the Gymnich informal summit. The attendees also include special guests from countries which wish to join the European Union in the future, but the Ukrainian delegation reportedly hasn't arrived. We are now joined live by our correspondent Kazimierz Wysiak. Good afternoon, Kazimierz. What is this summit about?
Good afternoon, Marie. There are several main themes to this summit. One of them is, of course, the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine, the EU's support for Kyiv and how to achieve a just and lasting peace. But as you've mentioned, there are also special guests here from the countries which wish to join the European Union in the future. We've seen the Turkish foreign minister. We've also spoken with the foreign minister of Kosovo and North Macedonia. So the Balkan states are also here. What is missing, who is missing, is, like you've also mentioned, the Ukrainian delegation. We have heard from the employees who are organizing this event under the Polish presidency in the Council of the European Union that the Ukrainian delegation hasn't arrived. We don't know why. This could be connected with several things, like, for example, the victory parade in Moscow and, of course, the ongoing invasion of Ukraine. We just don't know why they are not here. But overall, what this summit is about, it's also about establishing the future of foreign policies. The Gymnich summit is one of the most important events of any presidency in the Council of the European Union. Poland, of course, currently has the rotating presidency in the Council, and the Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski is hosting this event. Later in the day, we will be having a press conference from the Foreign Minister of Poland, but also the EU High Representative Kaja Kallas. So be on the lookout for our report from here. This summit will be all about making future decisions. This is all behind closed doors. So this is where the sausage is made. We just have to wait and see what the ministers will announce later in the day.
Kazimierz Wysiak reporting for us live in Warsaw. Thanks very much. The largest and most diverse conclave in history has resumed for day 2 of voting. The cardinal started the process of choosing the new leader of the Catholic Church on Wednesday, but the 2 first ballots were inconclusive. Our correspondent Alex Cadier is in Rome. Hello, Alex. So what can we expect today?
Hi there. Well, we're going to expect a lot of people around here waiting. That will be for the next few hours. We saw black smoke going up against over St. Peter's Basilica, which you can see behind me just a couple hours ago. That was expected because the conclaves of the 20th century have always taken 2 or 3 days. So clearly a little bit more time to wait. People have, frankly, started filing out of St. Peter's Square to get a little bit of downtime, a little bit of a break. We don't expect the next vote for another 3 and a bit hours. So that will now be the next moment. People will come flooding back here to see who the next Pope of the Roman Catholic Church will be. There are a lot of candidates. As you said, it is a big conclave. It's a very diverse conclave. Some want to see the first Asian Pope. Some others want to see the first African Pope in 1200 years. Those will be questions as to whether or not Pietro Parolin, the Italian, who was a chief advisor to Pope Francis, has a shot, maybe Cardinal Tagle from the Philippines, where the church is very influential, or cardinals from Ghana, from Congo. A lot of questions, no answers, of course, just black smoke for now, but tens of thousands of people here. You can sense the excitement really in the air when people are moving around here in St. Peter's Square, which you can see on your screen. Now it is quieter, but still that air of anticipation thick here. You can feel it. You can feel the excitement. We will see those cardinals have now retired for a lunch and a brief break, and then we will see in the next few hours whether or not they've come to a decision and whether or not it'll be white smoke here in the Vatican.
Thank you, Alex. We await more updates. Alex Cadier reporting live from Rome. Thanks very much. Vladimir Putin has thanked his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping for attending commemorations in Moscow to mark 80 years since the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. The Russian president said the two countries sit together now against what he called neo-Nazism.
The Russian leader welcomes China's President Xi Jinping to the Kremlin, greeting him as a dear friend. Vladimir Putin said he wants to counter what he called neo-Nazism, a term Putin uses in his narrative of the war in Ukraine in an attempt to justify his 2022 invasion.
Together with our Chinese friends, we firmly stand guard over historical truth, protect the memory of the events of the warriors, and counteract modern manifestations of neo-Nazism and militarism.
Xi is in Moscow for Russia's 80th anniversary commemoration of the end of World War II. His presence provides an important boost for Putin. Xi said as world leaders they would work to counter what he called unilateralism and bullying.
We should jointly promote the correct view of the history of World War II, safeguard the authority and status of the United Nations, resolutely defend the rights and interests of China, Russia and the vast majority of developing countries, and work together to promote an equal, orderly, multipolar and inclusive economic globalization.
In the face of Western sanctions over Russia's war with Ukraine, Moscow is heavily dependent on Beijing. The two leaders are expected to sign several agreements to deepen the no-limit strategic partnership between their countries.
Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping signed a statement on Thursday promising to deepen the comprehensive strategic partnership between their two countries. The 2025 Victory Day parade in Moscow, held on May 9th to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany, will be attended by numerous foreign dignitaries. Leaders from Western countries will be notably absent, reflecting ongoing geopolitical tensions.
Among the attendees is Putin's main guest, Xi Jinping. The two met on Thursday morning at the Kremlin. Leaders from 29 countries will be present at the festivities. After initial uncertainty, the President of Serbia and Prime Minister of Slovakia have confirmed their attendance. Europe's last dictator, Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko, will also attend, as well as leaders from African nations like the Republic of Congo. Western leaders will be notably absent, reflecting the ongoing isolation of Russia by Western nations amid the Ukraine conflict.
Speaking to TVP World, Kosovo Deputy Prime Minister reflected on the situation in the region and in particular on the fact that Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić is on his way to Russia for the Moscow Victory Day parade.
Only tomorrow the President of Serbia will be in Moscow joining the military parade of Vladimir Putin and his allies. So it is a difficult region, it is difficult times, but not only for the Western Balkans, but for Europe at all. It is really difficult to explain how month after month the Serbian President Vučić does show to everybody that he is a true Russian proxy, copy and paste, Russian playbook.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky released a video address celebrating Ukraine's Remembrance and Victory Day. Walking the streets of Kyiv, Zelensky paid his respects to those who perished on the battlefields of past wars, as well as those who have died fighting the Russian Federation since 2014.
Good morning, dear Ukrainians. Today is the day of remembrance and victory over Nazism, a day that we celebrate together with the whole world, with all those who 80 years ago fought for life, so that evil would lose, so that never again. Unfortunately, 3 years ago it happened again, and just like before, the air raid siren roared over Kyiv again. Tomorrow, the organizer of the mass graves in Bucha will speak about the atrocities of the Nazis, and the blockade of Leningrad will be spoken about by those who organized the blockade of Mariupol. There will be a parade of cynicism. There is simply no other way to call it. This is a very important place, a place of memory. It shows you why there's life, and why Ukraine is alive, and why it is so strong. Glory to the heroes. Thank you. Together we fight decisively, with force, with pressure, on the battlefield, in the diplomatic arena, and in the economic space, wherever possible, so that it is truly never again, or the world will have to conduct the denazification and demilitarization of Russia. Eternal memory to all who fought against evil, and glory to all who defend life today. Glory to Ukraine.
Слава Україні!
The Ukrainian Air Force said early on Thursday that a Russian military aircraft launched guided bombs on the Sumy region, marking a third attack carried out during the Kremlin-sponsored ceasefire.
Elsewhere, Ukrainian authorities reported that the skies over major cities were quiet, in contrast to the repeated attacks by Russian ballistic missiles and drone strikes recorded in the past months. Russia's three-day ceasefire is intended to mark the 80th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. It came into effect at midnight Moscow time. President Putin is hosting his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping, and other leaders in Moscow. They're due to review a military parade in the capital's Red Square on Friday.
And just minutes ago, the Ukrainian parliament ratified a milestone minerals deal with the United States. Events will take place on Thursday to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II in Europe. 80 years ago, on May 8, 1945, the Allies declared the war against Nazi Germany had ended. In Poland, Prime Minister Donald Tusk and other officials will take part in a series of ceremonies in Warsaw. The country lost more than 6 million citizens during the war, including about 640,000 as a result of direct warfare. In France, President Emmanuel Macron will preside over the annual ceremony at the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. This afternoon, Macron will conduct a review of troops before giving a speech and laying a wreath at the Arc de Triomphe. A minute's silence will then be observed at France's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Poland's Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz will soon visit Zagreb with an economic, infrastructure and military mission, as Poland and Croatia want to strengthen cooperation between their arms industries. The Polish official met with his Croatian counterpart Ivan Anušić on Thursday and made the announcement.
We want to exchange experiences and systems used, like the American HIMARS or Turkish Bayraktars. Cooperation in this area is crucial because we have similar capabilities. Croatian soldiers are present in Poland and this presence will be stepped up. Thank you very much for this declaration. Sharing responsibility for the eastern flank of NATO, we have a similar sense of the threats coming from Russia, but also from its allies, of which unfortunately, as we see today in Moscow, there is no shortage of.
We solidified some matters in this meeting which are very important for our future, and they of course pertain to security and defence. In the coming 2 months, we expect the Polish Defence Minister and his delegation in Zagreb, Croatia, where we will sign letters of intent and begin a higher level of cooperation between Croatia and Poland.
President Donald Trump says Britain and the United States expect to soon sign a full and comprehensive trade deal. Posting on his Truth social media platform, Trump wrote that the agreement would cement the UK-US relationship. The American leader added that because of the two countries' long history, it was a great honor to ink the first deal with the United Kingdom. He said further details will be provided at a press conference scheduled for later today. Paris Saint-Germain managed to book the last spot in the UEFA Champions League final, beating Arsenal at home 2-1. Speaking after the match, coaches of both teams were proud of their squad, saying that the game did not disappoint the fans.
I think in terms of passion and intensity, the match didn't disappoint in any way. I think Arsenal clearly came to win the match. They took the 1-1 draw to a place where they're very strong. We had to play a game we didn't want to play, but that's football. You have to adapt. I think we did well. We suffered, and I repeat, we played at 1-1, a game we didn't want to play. But an opponent at this level, and an opponent like Arsenal, who play very well, presents complications. We were good in transitions. We scored a goal. We hit the post in the first half, and the goal calmed us down a bit.
First of all, congratulate PSG for being in the final. Talking about merits, I think we deserve much more. When you analyze both games, who has been their best player, their MVP, has been the same player, the goalkeeper. And the Champions League is decided in the boxes, and he's won the game for them, because obviously today, after 20 minutes, and what happened in London as well, the result should have been very different. So I can take a lot of positives, and I'm very proud of the team.
Wraps up Midday Report today. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for more on TVP World. Goodbye.